The Morning Drive is sponsored by Power Metallic. To find out more about the company, please visit their website at powermetallic.com. Follow the Money Investor Group is a 100% Indigenous-owned company and certified with the Canadian Council for Aboriginal Business.
Sam Lee.
Great to see you, girl.
Yeah. I'm in Vancouver, so I said I got to do a morning drive with you.
Yeah, man. This is, sorry, it's not as sunny today as it was the last couple of days, but
Yeah.
That's all right.
Well, I thought it was. I got a convertible just in case.
Yeah, that's right. Never buy a convertible when you live in a rainforest. That's kind of the rule of thumb.
So last time we did a morning drive, you were one of four companies that I bought shares in after. So, and I did act on that. I bought, so I am a shareholder.
Fantastic. Welcome to the club. It makes us partners.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get into it. Let's bring the whole journey. Let's bring everyone along from PDAC.
Sure. So PDAC, if everyone remembers, that was our grand unveiling of our preliminary economic assessment that showed about a $2 billion net present value after tax, a 29% after tax IRR. This is all at analyst consensus pricing, which obviously has gone up significantly since then, given what's happened with gold. Very, very low payback, 1.9 years over a 29-year life of mine. So, we believed always that this was a project that would garner the attention of major players in our industry. And I think I was marketing to the institutions and doing a lot of road shows, which I still continue to do around that news. And so what's happened since then is it has absolutely happened, right? We announced that a director appointment, Alex Davidson, who, for those that you don't know, Alex is another mining Hall of Famer. So now we have two mining Hall of Famers on our board. His specialty is exploration, but it's also M&A, right? So when I worked on the Barrick Placer Dome acquisition back in 2006, he was the executive vice president of Barrick at that time. So not only has he discovered multiple mines, but he's effectively responsible for all of Barrick's major assets since the early 2000s. So we're extremely lucky to have him. I think we talked about it beforehand that you're a shareholder, I'm a shareholder, and he's a shareholder. We don't pay our directors money, stipends. We pay them in options, and not only has he accepted that, but he actually bought into a private placement the day that he joined, wanting to be fully levered to the stock at 69 cents.
Yeah, it was, I think he put around 180,000 in or so.
That's right.
Yeah, I saw that news release.
So he's effectively paying money for the opportunity. And again, for those that don't know his brand, there isn't a gold project on the planet that he does not know. There isn't a major company gold CEO that he doesn't have a very strong personal relationship with. And he also lives on Vancouver Island, which is very, very important when you are trying to convey to a party that this is an incredible opportunity in a place that has tremendous will and desire for big projects like this on the North Island, given the fact that that entire northern part of the island was established for a very big mine in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, the BHP Island copper mine. So sometimes it's tougher to express that, given the fact that it's not in my backyard, but it is literally in his backyard. And
Yeah.
he's seen projects across the world that get sanctioned and don't get sanctioned, coupled with the fact that this is, again, a 50-kilometer porphyry district, defined porphyry district. Everything really came together for him. So that was a huge, I think, momentum shift for us. And again, I think people are starting to appreciate what that impact is and what that implies with respect to our project. We also built out our exploration team. We hired another gentleman named Dr. Pablo Maheo. So he came from another $1 billion plus market cap company. He was a VPX for Arrow Copper. And the question as to why would you go from a multi-billion-dollar copper producing company to a junior explorer developer? Well, the answer is data. His focus, he's a PhD, he's a geoscientist, but his focus has been around this data-centric artificial intelligence utilization to triangulate on projects and project targets. And he's been quite successful at AeroCopper as well. He's also a part of a joint program with Stanford University, which was the incubator for a company, a $3.5 billion company called Cobalt, which is funded by Bezos and a lot of the high-tech guys.
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, so this is the incubator group that started, and he's quite influential within that group. I'm actually presenting in Silicon Valley in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
In that forum.
Okay.
Again, it's an area that, quite frankly, I don't have very much experience in. This is effectively Silicon Valley disruptor territory where, can you take technologies to make your exploration and development and producing operations more efficient, right? And have increase your higher degree of success. And it is quite disruptive, but billions and billions of dollars are coming from Silicon Valley to effectively move these types of initiatives forward. And Cobalt is probably the best known and most successful. So anyway, that's part of the reason why we attracted Dr. Mahail, because we have over 65 years of data. This was back in the 50s where the Geological Surveys initiated the work in our northern Vancouver Island area. And then since then we've had Utah, BHP, Lumina all do a tremendous amount of work on it, including us over the last 5 years. So this is really, he's like a kid in a candy store here with respect to the amount of data. He obviously has an exceptional team that understands our porphyry district very, very well. So coupled with that data synthesis and understanding of our specific geological environment, I'm very, very, very excited about what our program is going to look like in the next phases. Currently, we initiated our phase. This is pre-Pablo, and this is our focus, as I mentioned before, is that within this PEA, there's this very high margin area we call phase one, which is about 65 to 70% EBITDA margins. And that's what's creating these incredible numbers, eye-popping numbers you see in the PEA. Well, we're focusing on that northern corridor right now. We're currently drilling West Goodspeed, which is effectively connected to Red Dog, which is on the border of the northern corridor. And it's not currently in the resources or the PEA. We've already drilled 18 holes, so we do feel very comfortable and confident that this is a continuous part of that higher margin northern corridor, which is clearly just going to have a tremendous impact on the economics. And that's what I think I described to you last time. Our objective is to continue to focus in on that higher margin area, higher grade area, while developing the project as quickly as possible in this supercharged political environment that has done nothing but bring confidence to our natural resource industry. So there's in the very short, month and a half since we've seen each other, we've initiated a drill program that's going to attack that higher margin area. We've attracted 2 world-class individuals within our exploration team and our board team that has tremendous influence around people that matter in our industry. And we're very, very well poised to, again, have 2025 as being our most successful year yet.
How did the whole situation with Alex come about?
Yeah.
How did that...
It's a really good question. So, as I said, I first met him on the other side of the hostile takeover. Placer Dome was being acquired by Barrick back in 2006. It happened on October 31st. Happy Halloween. It brought me from Toronto. I pretty much was in Vancouver for about a month and a half. I wasn't living in Vancouver at the time. And Alex was on the other side. And I have to say, Alex, just consummate professional, extreme visionary. That was a very important transaction for Barrick at the time. We developed a relationship from there. And then since then, as a banker, I advised Barrick on a number of things, including some successful and some failed transactions. And as I developed that trusting relationship, that's how it initially formed from a professional level. He then retired from Barrick a few years ago. He got the Mining Hall of Fame award. He sat on a couple of boards, including Pan American and Yamana, and Perseus Mining, which is an Australian company, which I have very strong relationships with historically and currently. So we always kept in touch. I believe he became a shareholder back in 2022, but personally, I did establish almost a mentorship relationship with him.
Yeah.
And the one thing I remembered him very specifically is that we've got this, 50-kilometer district, right? And we've got multiple levers to pull. We've got near surface, higher grade, open pittable areas like the Northwest Corridor, which we're focusing on now. We've also got, huge underground potential, at Pemberton Hills, which is only 7 kilometers away. And his advice to me at the time, this was before he joined, was that as a junior explorer developer, focus on the stuff at surface, get help on the stuff that's underground and could potentially be high reward but also high risk. Mm-hmm. And so from that's really where we formed, coupled with Dale Corman, our chairman, another Mining Hall of Famer, a view that we do have very a high margin rock in this northern corridor. So that really pivoted the company back in 2022 to sort of supplement this low grade, high tonnage project we all know is going to make cash in Hushamu to this northern corridor at surface, high grade, high margin area, for which now we've shown quite a bit of success and evidence through the PEA. So the way that I view our board and the way that our board can help us as management is to bring that perspective that is, currently it's over 200 years worth of perspective. And, these are the leaders in the mining industry who've not only made billions of dollars for shareholders, but millions of dollars for themselves. That's the type of guidance and direction that is driving this company, right? It's not just me, it's not just our VPX, it is the board that really has this incredible ability to set the direction or help set the direction of the company. We also have Kevin O'Kane, who actually I mentioned is over 35 years at BHP. He was the chief mining officer for this neighboring island, Copper Mine, so he's lived in Port Hardy for over 13 years. Second to none. He was the part of BHP's A team. You will not see a board like ours for a junior company, right? It's uncanny.
Sure.
So that's I think a very, very big part of our success.
What do you think right now? In March, we were headed towards an election here in Canada, right? So now we know who we've got.
Yep.
You want to just share your thoughts on if you think that's better for the mining sector and more specifically Northisle?
Yeah, so from our perspective, this is extremely positive, right? In terms of not necessarily the result, but how the result came about, right? Meaning that if you took a look at all the three major platforms, they were all completely aligned on the fact that we need to protect our sovereignty in Canada, and the way to do it is through natural resource extraction, and the way to do that is to build infrastructure that actually provides access to a global partnership as opposed to just being reliant on the US, right? So those are the three aligned messages that all three parties projected, right? So what do we have today then in terms of the government? Well, the government now is obviously has been given a second mandate. Obviously, it's a minority government, but it's been renewed, but it's just been slightly renewed because what people want is less rhetoric, more action. And so what does that mean when you're the government, when you effectively have a reasonably short term to affect change? Well, you got to focus on projects that actually have most of those elements in place, right? So for example, if you're landlocked and you can't access your project, government's probably not going to spend millions, billions of dollars to build infrastructure to access that project that will be relevant in 20 years.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to focus on projects that have
Actionable.
existing infrastructure. And when I'm talking about infrastructure, I'm not talking about mills and processing facilities. I'm talking about roads, power, ports, town, right?
Yeah.
Well, we have it because hundreds of millions of dollars have been already spent by the provincial government and BHP to build out that infrastructure for a mine of pretty much our size that we're contemplating right now. And that's only about 20, within a 20-kilometer radius of our project. The second thing is, okay, well, tidewater, right? How do you get your commodities to more of a global environment so you're not subjected to being beholden to the U.S.? Well, we are literally on tidewater. I think we're a kilometer away from tidewater, right? So you don't have to build rail or pipelines or these things that have been quite restrictive or, dismissed, quite frankly, over the last 10, 15 years under the current government. You don't have to wait for that to happen. It's already there. Where it's not already there, it's not required. We are already on tidewater, right? And then the third component, which is not a BC thing, but it's certainly a Canadian thing, is do you have the social license, right? And social license around, big projects typically have been driven by the government's framework of approvals, provincial and federal. Now what the main focus is, the provinces take control, which is huge, as opposed to having a duplicative process between provincial and federal. So all parties ran on that platform, which is going to be very, very beneficial for our industry. And the second component is First Nations are governments as well, right? So you do need to sort of recognize that is another government that you have to make sure that you get sanctioning from, which we have been doing for the last 14 years of this project's existence under Northisle. And most recently, we have signed these very novel consent agreements with two of our First Nation groups. So if you think about that point of intersection, I keep on talking about that 3-point of intersection that politically motivates politicians, we've got all three. And we've already seen 4 projects of 18 expedited within the province over the last 2 months.
That's positive?
It's to be able to politically say we're expediting 4 projects among 18 that we've identified is fantastic. And these are the top 4 projects. 3 of them are actually in production and they're expansion. So Highland Valley, Mount Milligan, Red Chris, and the 4th one is Skeena, which is a development, but it is there's committed infrastructure funding, there's committed co-authorship of permitting with First Nations and provincial governments. So that was on the top of the list as well. So those are the first 4 that are top of the list. We are part of the list of 18, and so our objective as part of our second portion of our strategy is to be next on that announced expedited permitting strategy. So politically, the time has never been better. In the 30 years that I've been in mining in Canada, mining has always been a bad word. You had this very disparate disconnection of people that wanted to be a part of it, people that didn't want to be a part of it. Well, I got to say right now, it's never been stronger politically for our industry in Canada. And it's not a party thing. It's a overall protectionism, localism, sovereignty drive
that's been really brought on by the whole tariff situation, right? It's been or it's been heightened.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. We need copper. We need lots of copper.
We need copper. We need gold, right? And copper. I don't think there's anybody on this planet that doesn't believe in the medium to long-term proposition of copper. But it's tough to sort of have that conviction today when you see a lot of economic disruptive things that are happening that reduce the demand or the growth of the world.
Yeah.
So you do see this volatile behavior in copper prices today.
Yeah.
Well, that's why having gold in the level that we have it, 7 million ounces in indicated, driving our economics is critical. Like I do want to remind the viewers that at spot prices, this is spot prices being $2,900 gold. Our PEA suggests that this is a $4.9 billion after-tax NPV. That's how levered this project is to gold, and you need to have that bridge, gold bridging copper, to be relevant at any point of the cycle. This is a natural hedge. These two commodities, having these two commodities in the abundance that we have it, is a natural hedge to economic volatility.
Well, do you think we covered most of what we needed to since PDAC?
I think so. I think stay tuned, right? We now are probably close to over 1,000 meters of drilling. We're ripping through the program right now. We're having our strategic discussions, and it's really going to be quite an active next few months for us.
When do you think we'll start to see drill results coming out? Is that going to be like the fall or late?
No. It'll be earlier. So this year, the big difference between this year is that we are doing our drilling in phases.
Yeah.
And we should be completing our drilling by, I'd say, mid-July to end of July.
Okay, but then the first phases will...
And then we'll go into the second phase, depending on those results.
Yeah.
We actually are using something called TrueScan, which is something you could scan instantaneously.
Yeah.
It doesn't give full assay results, but it gives us a very good picture of what we're getting. And so the first component of our fourth phase right now is to define an internal resource at West Goodspeed, which is that area in the higher margin northern corridor that isn't part of the PEA. The second part of this phase 4 program that we're doing right now is to find the causative intrusion, this high grade zone that we have in the open pit, the pit shell at Northwest Expo. And so that drilling will most likely happen in the next couple of weeks. So we've got, to break that down, we've got sort of the high probability, low risk proposition that isn't included in the PEA at West Goodspeed, and then we've got the higher risk, higher reward proposition of finding that high grade causative intrusion that's driving the economics at Northwest Expo.
Well, good luck with everything, and especially with that meeting in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, that's a conference. Anyone can join if you got time. We'll post the dates on our website, and it'll be pretty interesting to see. Carl, great to see you.
We'll see you in a couple months, maybe, or latest, probably early fall.
Excellent.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Follow the Money Investor Group is a 100% Indigenous-owned company and certified with the Canadian Council for Aboriginal Business.